The sky turned red the day the Vrathi came. Not the soft red of sunset, but a violent, pulsing crimson, like the planet itself was bleeding. Their ships, twisted, jagged things that looked like bones fused with metal, ripped through Earth's atmosphere, scattering clouds like ash. They called themselves the Vrathi, a swarm of insect-like monsters with voices that buzzed like broken radios. They spoke one word to humanity: surrender. Humanity refused. For 2 years, the world burned. Cities became graveyards. Oceans boiled under orbital lasers. Forests vanished in storms of poison rain. The Vrathi didn't just want Earth, they wanted to erase it. Their war machines stomped through ruins, hunting humans like insects. By year 3, 90% of the population was dead. The survivors hid in caves, sewers, and the rusted guts of abandoned subway tunnels. Governments dissolved, armies crumbled, hope died. But not all hope. In the Atacama Desert, where sandstorms howled like ghosts, a woman named Commander Leila Reyes led a ragged band of survivors. She was once a soldier, sharp-eyed and stubborn, with a scar across her cheek from a Vrathi claw. Her group, 32 people, including engineers, farmers, and a teenage hacker named Jin, scraped by on stolen food and broken machines. They were ghosts themselves, hiding from Vrathi drones that patrolled the skies. Lila's days were a blur of survival, fixing solar panels, burying the dead, teaching Jin how to hack old military radios. But her nights were haunted by a single thought: we're not gone yet. She remembered the last message from Earth's Defense Council, broadcast before the Vrathi destroyed the satellite network. Projects in motion, hope remains. No details, just those 6 words. Lila had spent years obsessing over them. What projects? Who was left? Her answer came on a stormy night, when Jin stumbled into her tent, clutching a cracked tablet. "Boss," he panted, "you need to see this." The screen showed grainy footage, a black-budget military base in Chile, buried under rubble. But beneath the debris, Jin had found something: schematics, blueprints of ships, not just any ships. Warships, dozens of them, designed to look like asteroids. Stealth tech, Jin said, his voice trembling. They called it the Ghost Fleet. Lila's heart slammed against her ribs. She'd heard rumors during the war, whispers of a secret fleet built to hide in space, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Most dismissed it as a myth. But now she had proof. The blueprints included coordinates, a location deep in the asteroid belt. "They're still out there," Lila whispered. "They have to be," Jin frowned. "Even if they are, what? They'd need a signal to come back." Lila stood, her hands shaking. She remembered her mentor, Colonel Hayes, a grizzled officer who'd once shown her a strange radio frequency code. "If everything falls apart," he'd said, "this is our last card." She hadn't thought about it in years. But now, she dug through her pack, pulling out a dented metal box. Inside was a scrap of paper, faded and torn, with a string of numbers scribbled on it. A frequency. "Let's send them a message," she said. Jin stared at her. "Boss, we're talking about aliens out there. If this doesn't work, if we do nothing, we die," Lila snapped. "At least this way we go down fighting." For hours, Jin worked, jury-rigging the radio with scrap parts. Sparks flew, wires snapped. But finally the machine hummed, to life. Lila took a breath. "This is Commander Leila Reyes," she said into the static. "If the Ghost Fleet exists, if anyone's left, we need you now." The radio hissed. Then silence. Minutes passed. An hour. Jin shook his head. Nothing. Lila clenched her fists. Of course, it was too late. Another myth. Shattered. But then, beep. A single tone echoed from the speaker, then a voice, cold and mechanical. "Signal. Confirmed. Initiating Protocol Lazarus." The ground trembled, not from an earthquake, From sound. A deep, resonant roar, like thunder trapped in ice. Lila rushed outside. The sky was splitting open. Above the desert, stars flickered, and then moved. 3,000 jagged shadows peeled away from the night, shedding their asteroid disguises. Sleek, black warships, bristling with weapons, their engines glowing blue-white. They weren't just ships. They were angels of war. Jin dropped his tablet. "Oh my God," Lila grinned, tears cutting through the dust on her face. "Get everyone," she said. "The war's not over." Far above, the Vrathi High Ascendant watched the sky from its dreadnought's command deck. It felt uneasy. Its sensors had missed these ships. Impossible. They should have been invisible. The Ascendant's compound eyes narrowed. It raised a clawed limb. "Target unknown threats," it buzzed to its officers. "Eradicate." But as Vrathi weapons powered up, the human ships did something unexpected. They vanished. No engines flared. No alarms blared. 1 second they were there. The next, gone. The Ascendant froze. For the first time in its centuries-long life, it felt a sensation it couldn't comprehend. Fear. Back on Earth, Lila pointed skyward. "That's our cue," she said. "Time to show these bugs what happens when you underestimate humans." The Ghost Fleet had awoken, and they were angry. The Vrathi High Ascendant's compound eyes twitched. Its dreadnought sensors screamed errors. The human ships had vanished, not destroyed, not cloaked. Erased, as if they'd never existed. "Scatter the swarm," the Ascendant buzzed, its voice crackling through the hive network. "Find them. Kill them." But it was too late. From the void, the Ghost Fleet returned, not as asteroids, but as wolves tearing into prey. Their hulls shimmered with dark energy, bending light around them like oil on water. They moved in perfect silence, their engines humming with a soundless fury. On the Achilles, Captain Aaron Voss gripped his console. His crew, a mix of hardened veterans and young recruits who'd grown up in the asteroid belt, watched the Vrathi fleet like hawks. They'd trained for this moment their whole lives. Now, it was real. "Launch Phase 1, Voss ordered. The fleet's first strike was invisible, swarms of EMP torpedoes, stolen from Vrathi tech and rebuilt by human engineers, shot through space. They didn't explode. Instead, they pulsed, releasing waves of electromagnetic energy that fried the Vrathi's neural networks. Across the alien armada, ships convulsed. Drones fell lifeless. Turrets froze mid-aim. Commanders twitched as their hive links severed, leaving them blind and isolated. "Report," the Ascendant barked. Silence. For the first time in its history, the Vrathi, hive mind stuttered. Back on Earth, Commander Lila Reyes stared skyward. The desert wind howled, but she barely felt it. Above her, the stars flickered wildly, human ships darting between Vrathi dreadnoughts like shadows in a storm. Explosions bloomed silently in the vacuum, their light painting the night in eerie colors. "They're doing it," whispered Jin, his voice trembling. "They're actually doing it." Lila's radio crackled. A new voice, calm and cold, cut through the static. "This is Captain Voss. All human forces hold position. We've got this." Jin whooped, punching the air. Around them, survivors stumbled out of hiding, their faces lit by the battle above. A woman clutched a rusted rifle, tears streaming down her soot-streaked face. An old man muttered a prayer in Spanish, but Lila's grin faded as she spotted movement on the horizon. Vrathi ground troops. The aliens had sent insectoid soldiers to crush any human resistance during the chaos. Their six-legged walkers stomped toward the desert base, plasma cannons glowing green. "They know we're here," Lila hissed. "Jin, get everyone armed. We hold this spot until the fleet finishes the job." In space, the Ghost Fleet pivoted to Phase 2. "Railguns hot," reported Lieutenant Kara, the Achilles weapons officer. Her fingers danced across holographic controls, targeting the largest Vrathi dreadnought. Firing. The ship lurched as twin railgun barrels on its hull fired. Rounds the size of school buses shot into space at hypersonic speeds. trailing sparks like comets. They tore through the dreadnought's organic armor, punching holes the size of craters. Green blood sprayed into the void, freezing instantly into grotesque ice sculptures. Across the battlefield, other Ghost Fleet ships mirrored the attack. Railgun rounds, kinetic lances, and stolen Vrathi plasma cannons rained death on the invaders. The aliens scrambled to adapt, but their systems were blind. Without the hive mind's coordination, their formations collapsed into chaos. Captain Voss watched the carnage with a grim smile. "They thought we were dead," he muttered. "Let's remind them what happens when you underestimate humans." Winder Earth, the first Vrathi walker, exploded in a fireball. Lila's team had rigged the desert with old landmines and jury-rigged grenades. The aliens stumbled, their exoskeletons cracking under the blasts. "Hold the line," Lila shouted, firing her rifle at a charging insectoid. The bullet tore through its thorax, and it collapsed with a screech. Jin ducked behind a rock, typing furiously on his tablet. "Boss, I can hack their drones. Give me a minute." "Minute?" Lila growled, ducking as a plasma bolt scorched the air above her head. "We don't have a minute." A deafening roar cut through the chaos. From the ruins of a nearby town, a rusted tank rumbled forward, its turret creaking. Inside, a grizzled engineer named Ruiz waved from the hatch. "Heard the party started without us," Leela grinned. "Ruiz, you beautiful idiot. Blow them to hell." The tank's cannon roared, obliterating a Vrathi walker. The aliens reeled, their formation breaking. In space, the Ascendant seethed. Its body quivered with rage as it watched its fleet disintegrate. "Reconnect the hive link," it shrieked. "Now!" A technician, a frail drone-like creature, twitched. "Systems damaged, cannot—" The Ascendant's claw sliced through its neck. "Replace it. Restore control." But the damage was done. Without the hive mind, the Vrathi were no longer a swarm. They were insects. Alone. Weak. A warning klaxon blared. Human ships closing in, a subordinate buzzed. The Ascendant's mandibles clacked. It had one chance left, the Karzan core, a planet-killer weapon hidden on a nearby moon. If it couldn't win the battle, it would erase Earth, and the humans, entirely. "Activate the Karzan," it hissed. "Burn this rock to ash." Back, on the Achilles, Kara's screen flashed red. "Sir, we've got a problem. Vrathi base on Luna just powered up a massive energy signature." Voss's stomach dropped. He knew what that meant. "A planet killer, if they fire it." "Earth's gone," Kara finished. Voss slammed his fist on the console. "Divert half the fleet to Luna. Stop that weapon." Lieutenant Kara hesitated. "And the rest?" Voss stared at the dying Vrathi armada. "We finish what we started." On Earth, Lila's radio crackled. Jin's voice, breathless. "Boss, the Vrathi are retreating." She turned. The remaining alien soldiers faltered, their movements jerky and uncoordinated. Without hive control, they were lost. One by one, they collapsed, their bodies twitching like broken puppets. Lila exhaled. "It's working." But then Ruiz pointed, skyward. "What the hell is that?" A new glow pierced the clouds, a beam of white-hot energy, arcing from the moon toward Earth. "No," Lila whispered. "They're not done yet." The Ghost Fleet had won the battle. But the war wasn't. The white-hot beam from the moon sliced through Earth's atmosphere like a scalpel. Trees ignited, oceans boiled, cities melted, the ground cracked, splitting open to reveal glowing magma. "Karzan core is firing," Kara screamed over the chaos on the Achilles. "If it keeps charging." "Earth gets erased," Voss finished. His jaw clenched. "Divert all power to the Luna strike team. Now." Half the Ghost Fleet peeled away from the battle, their engines flaring as they raced toward the moon. The remaining ships held the line against the shattered Vrathi armada, trading fire in a storm of plasma and shrapnel. On the lunar surface, the Karzan core pulsed like a dying star. Its Vrathi engineers scrambled to stabilize the weapon, their insectoid limbs twitching in panic. The Ascendant's voice crackled. Through their neural links, Hold the line, destroy the humans. But the humans were already there. Commander Lila Reyes dropped to one knee, shielding her face from the searing heat. The beam above her was inches from striking the desert. "Boss, we've got seconds," Jin shouted, his tablet sparking in his hands. "I can't hack the Karzan, it's controlled from the moon," Lila cursed. "Then we buy time. Ruiz, blow the eastern ridge. Collapse the tunnel." Ruiz saluted and sprinted toward a rusted artillery cannon. With a deafening boom, he fired a homemade shell into the cliffs. The ground shook. A landslide roared down, burying the Vrathi's forward base in rubble. For a moment, the beam wavered. "They recalibrated," Jin yelled. "We bought, maybe, 2 minutes?" Lila grabbed her radio. "Achilles, this is Reyes. Beam's still active. Hurry." Static. Then Voss's voice sharp. "Hold on, Commander. We're coming." On the moon, Lieutenant Kara led the strike team. Her ship, the Hades, skimmed low over the lunar surface, dodging Vrathi anti-air turrets. Behind her, Ghost Fleet drop pods rained from the sky, each packed with soldiers armed with stolen Vrathi plasma blades. "Touchdown in 10, Kara barked. The pods slammed into the Karzan facility, punching holes in its reinforced walls. Soldiers poured out, firing at insectoid engineers and severing power cables. Explosions lit up the base like fireworks. But the Vrathi fought back. 6-legged drones swarmed the humans, their mandibles snapping. Kara sliced one in half with her blade, then kicked another into a reactor core. It exploded, taking out a squad of drones in a fireball. "We're running out of time," a soldier yelled. "Core's at 90% charge." Kara grabbed a grenade belt and sprinted toward the reactor. "Cover me!" Bullets whizzed past her. A drone latched onto her leg, its claws digging into her armor. She spun, slamming it into the ground, then kicked it into a plasma turret. Sparks flew. The reactor loomed ahead, a glowing sphere the size of a house, pulsing with deadly energy. Kara yanked a grenade from her belt and slammed it into a control panel. "Clear," she shouted. The explosion tore through the facility. Back. On Earth, the beam flickered. "Yes!" Jin whooped. "It's destabilizing!" Lila stared skyward. The beam pulsed wildly, its light dimming. Then, boom. The sky exploded. A shockwave ripped across the desert, throwing Lila off her feet. Sand and debris rained down. When she opened her eyes, the beam was gone. Silence. Then Jin's voice, trembling. "Boss, we're still here." Lila laughed, breathless. "We're alive." On the moon, Kara stumbled through the wreckage. Her helmet was cracked, her left arm bleeding, but the Karzan core was a smoldering crater. "Mission success," she gasped into her radio. Voss's voice crackled back. "Stand down, Lieutenant. Return to base." The Ghost Fleet's remaining ships finished off the last Vrathi dreadnoughts. Without the hive mind, the aliens were easy prey. One by one, their ships exploded or fled into warp. The war was over. Commander Lila Reyes stood on a hill overlooking the desert. The sun peeked over the horizon, painting the sky in gold. For the first time in years, the air was clean. No poison, no smoke, just wind. Jin approached, holding his broken tablet. "Boss? What now?" Lila smiled. "Now, we rebuild." Behind her, the Ghost Fleet hovered above Earth, their black hulls gleaming. Voss's voice echoed from the radio. "Commander Reyes, you're invited aboard the Achilles. We have much to discuss." Lila hesitated. She'd spent years hiding in the dirt, fighting for scraps. Now she was part of something bigger. She nodded. "Let's go." On the Achilles, Captain Voss met her in the command room. His uniform was scorched, his face lined with exhaustion. "We won," Lila said. Voss shook his head. "We survived. That's not the same." He gestured to a hologram of the galaxy. Dozens of red dots marked Vrathi colonies. "They'll regroup," Voss said. "They'll come back with more ships, more weapons. We need to strike first." Lila frowned. "You want to take the fight to them?" Voss's eyes burned. "Humanity can't be victims anymore. We need to be hunters." Lila studied the map. She thought of the dead, The cities burned, the friends lost, the years spent hiding in sewers. Finally, she nodded. Then let's hunt. Weeks passed. The Ghost Fleet expanded. Stolen Vrathi tech was reverse-engineered. New ships were built. Survivors from Earth joined the cause. Soldiers, engineers, even kids like Jin, who hacked alien databases with a grin. Lila trained recruits in the Achilles war room, teaching them the lessons of Earth's fall. Voss planned invasions, mapping routes to Vrathi worlds. One night, Jin found her on the observation deck. "You okay?" he asked. Lila sighed. "I just wonder if we're becoming them." Jin frowned. "The Vrathi?" She nodded. "They thought they were stronger, that they had the right to destroy us. Now we're doing the same." Jin was quiet. Then he said, "No, they wanted to erase us. We're fighting to make sure no one ever hurts us again." Lila smiled faintly. "Maybe you're right." Outside the window, stars glittered. Somewhere, out there, the Vrathi licked their wounds, plotting revenge, but humanity was ready. The Ghost Fleet would never hide again. The Achilles cut through the void like a blade. Its hull, scarred from the battle over Earth, gleamed under the light of a dying star. Behind it, the Ghost Fleet followed, a swarm of 3,000 warships, each bristling with stolen Vrathi weapons and human fury. Captain Aaron Voss stood on the bridge, his eyes locked on the holographic map before him. The galaxy pulsed with red dots. Vrathi colonies. Dozens of them. "We hit the core worlds first," he said, voice cold. "Break their command structure. Make them bleed." Commander Lila Reyes leaned against the railing, arms crossed. "You mean burn them to ash, just like they tried to do to us?" Voss didn't flinch. "They earned it." Lila's jaw tightened. She'd seen what the Vrathi did to Earth, cities reduced to ash, forests melted into sludge. But now they were the ones with the power. And power, she knew, had a way of rotting even the strongest souls. Jin, seated at a nearby console, glanced up from his tablet. "Boss, I'm picking up Vrathi chatter. They're regrouping on Threx 9. It's a major breeding hub." Voss's lips curled. "Perfect. We hit them where they're weakest." Threx 9 was a nightmare. A swamp planet, its air thick with methane and the stench of rot. The Vrathi's biomechanical cities pulsed like tumors across the landscape, their towers dripping with organic slime. The Ghost Fleet descended under cloak. Railgun rounds tore through the atmosphere, obliterating Vrathi spore farms. Plasma drones swarmed the skies, incinerating insectoid soldiers mid-scream. On the ground, Lila led a strike team through a jungle of towering fungi. Her squad, armed, with stolen Vrathi plasma rifles and grenades packed with EMP cores, moved like shadows. "Clear," Ruiz hissed, kicking open a hatch. Inside, a nest of Vrathi larvae squirmed in a gelatinous pod. Jin gagged. "Boss, do we—" Lila shook her head. "We're not monsters, leave them." Ruiz frowned. "You sure? These things grow up to be killers." "They're babies," Lila snapped. "We're here to stop the war, not start a genocide." A distant explosion rocked the jungle. Jin's radio crackled. "Sir, the fleet's asking for coordinates. They want to glass the planet." Lila's stomach dropped. "Glass it? As in, nuke it from orbit?" Voss's voice cut through the static. "Reyes, report." She keyed her mic. "Sir, we've secured the target. No need for orbital strikes." Silence. Then, "You're wasting time. Those larvae will be soldiers in weeks." Lila's hands clenched. "We're better than that." Another pause. Then Voss's voice sharp. "Do your job, Commander, or I'll do it for you." The line died. Back on the Achilles. Voss slammed, his fist on the console. "She's gone soft." Lieutenant Kara raised an eyebrow. "She's remembering why we fought, not to become them." Voss turned on her, eyes blazing. "You think I like this? Those babies will grow up to kill millions. We end this now, or we die later." Kara didn't back down. "And if we start burning planets, what's the difference?" Voss's glare was icy. "Difference is, We win. He stormed off, leaving Kara frowning at the map. On Threx 9, Lila's team planted charges on the Vrathi command center. Jin hacked into the base's neural network, uploading a virus to scramble their communications. 10 minutes to detonation, Ruiz said. Lila nodded. Let's move. As they retreated, Jin hesitated. Boss? Look. A Vrathi child, no, older than 10 by human standards, crawled from a collapsed tunnel. Its exoskeleton was cracked, one eye swollen shut. It stared at Jin, trembling. Lila's breath caught. The kid wasn't a soldier, just a survivor. Leave it, Ruiz muttered. It'll die when we blow the base anyway. Jin shook his head. No way. Boss, we can't. Lila crouched, holding out her hand. Come here. The child flinched but crawled forward. Lila scooped it up, its weight surprisingly light. Move, she barked. They sprinted as the command center exploded behind them, fire licking at their heels. Back on the Achilles, Voss watched the feed from Threx 9. Lila's team emerged from the jungle, carrying the Vrathi child. They saved it? Kara muttered. Voss's fists clenched. Unbelievable. Lila's voice crackled over the comms. Sir, we've secured the target. Requesting extraction. Voss didn't answer. He turned to Kara. Set course for Vrathi Prime. We end this. Kara stared at him. And Lila? Voss's eyes were stone. She's made her choice. The Ghost Fleet's assault on Vrathi Prime was a massacre. The planet's skies darkened as human warships rained fire. Railgun rounds punched through megacities, reducing them to smoldering craters. EMP drones severed the hive mind's neural links, leaving the Vrathi leaderless and panicked. On the ground, soldiers fought through waves of insectoid defenders. They stormed the Ascendant's palace, a living fortress of bone and metal, and tore it apart. But the Ascendant was gone. They fled to the outer colonies, Kara reported. We got the leadership, but the core's still out there. Voss slammed his fist on the throne. Track them, end this. Meanwhile, Lila sat in the Achilles medbay watching the Vrathi child sleep. A doctor patched its wounds. You're insane, Ruiz said. That thing could be a bomb. Lila didn't look up. It's not. It's scared. Just like we were. Jin entered, holding his tablet. Boss, I decrypted some files from Threx 9. The Vrathi weren't just breeding soldiers, they were experimenting. He showed her a video. A Vrathi scientist loomed over a human prisoner, a young woman bound to a table. The scientist's claws pierced her skin, injecting glowing fluid into her veins. They were trying to make hybrids, Jin whispered. Combine their DNA with ours. Lila's stomach churned. Why? Jin scrolled further. To create soldiers immune to our weapons, ones that think like us, but obey the hive. Lila stood abruptly. We need to tell Voss. She found him in the war room plotting the next strike. This changes everything, she said, tossing the tablet onto the table. Voss skimmed the files, face unreadable. They're making human Vrathi hybrids, Lila pressed. If they succeed, we'll have an army that knows our tactics, our weaknesses. We'll lose. Voss leaned back. So we burn every lab, kill every test subject. Lila recoiled. Even the innocent ones? Voss's voice was steel. Especially them. She stared at him. This wasn't the man who'd led the Ghost Fleet back to Earth. This was someone else. Kara entered, tension in her posture. Sir, we've got a problem. The hybrid labs. They're on human colonies. The Vrathi took prisoners after Earth fell. Voss's eyes narrowed. Where? Kara hesitated. The last known coordinates are in the Sol system. Lila's blood ran cold. They're on Earth. The Achilles raced back to Earth, its engines screaming. As they broke orbit, alarms blared. Life signs in the Arctic, Kara reported. Massive underground complex, thermal scans show movement. Lila's voice was hollow. Let's go. The Arctic base was buried under miles of ice. Lila's team tunneled down, their breath fogging in the cold. Inside, they found it. Rows of pods lined the walls, each holding a human body. Men, women, children wired to machines that pumped Vrathi DNA into their veins. Some were already mutated, their skin hardened into chitin, eyes glowing green. Jin gagged. "Boss, they're alive." Lila stepped forward. A woman in one pod stirred, her face twisted in pain. "Help. Me." Lila's hand hovered over the release valve. If she opened it, the woman might live, or she might become a monster. Behind her, Voss's voice boomed, "Step away!" She turned. He stood in the doorway, plasma rifle raised. "They're not human anymore," he said. "And..." Lila's hand trembled. "Please," the woman whispered. Lila closed her eyes and pulled the lever. The pods hissed open. The hybrids screamed, their bodies writhing. Some collapsed, dead. Others lunged. Voss's soldiers shot them down. But some were still human. One girl, no older than 12, stumbled out sobbing. I remember my name. Emily." Lila knelt, tears in her eyes. "You're safe now." Voss watched in silence. For the first time, doubt flickered across his face. Back on the Achilles, the fleet. "Regrouped, we saved 47, Lila said. "The rest didn't make it." Voss nodded slowly. "And the hybrids?" Lila's voice was firm. "They're people. We helped them." He studied her. "You're risking everything for a few broken souls." She met his gaze. "That's what we fought for, Aaron. Not to win, to stay human." For a long moment he said nothing. Then, "Set course for the outer colonies. We end this the right way." Lila exhaled. Maybe there was hope for them all. The Achilles hovered at the edge of the Vrathi's final stronghold, a massive ring of asteroids orbiting a black hole. At the center spun the Ascendant's last weapon, the Nexus core, a hybrid factory the size of a moon. Its spires pulsed, with green light, pumping Vrathi DNA into kidnapped humans. Captain Aaron Voss stared at the hologram of the battlefield. "They've turned the core into a fortress, turrets, drones, and a swarm of hybrids." Commander Lila Reyes crossed her arms. "We hit them fast. Free the prisoners before the hybrids activate." Voss's jaw tightened. "Or we glass the whole system. End this now." Lila stepped forward, her voice sharp. "You still think this is about winning? If we nuke the core, we kill thousands of humans. We're not them, Aaron." Voss glared. For weeks they'd clashed. Lila fighting to save lives, Voss to destroy the enemy. But this was the line. "Fine," Voss growled. "You lead the strike team. But if those hybrids turn on us, I'm pulling out." The Ghost Fleet dove into the asteroid belt, engines screaming. Railgun rounds tore through Vrathi drones, while EMP torpedoes fried hybrid control nodes. Lila's drop pod slammed into the Nexus core's underbelly. Her team, Ruiz, Jin, and a squad of soldiers poured out, blasting insectoid guards. "Move!" Lila shouted. Inside, the core was a nightmare. Flesh metal walls pulsed with veins of green light. Hybrid prisoners hung in pods, their bodies twisted halfway into monsters. Jin hacked a terminal, his fingers flying. "Boss, I can overload the life support systems. Buy time to free the humans." "Do it." Alarms blared. Across the core, pods hissed open. Some hybrids staggered out, screaming in pain. Others collapsed, dead. Then the doors burst open. A wave of fully transformed hybrids stormed in, humanoid bodies with Vrathi claws and glowing eyes, shrieking in broken English. "Kill! Obey the hive!" Ruiz's rifle roared. "Boss, we're outnumbered!" Lila fired into the swarm. "Hold the line!" On the Achilles, Voss watched the feed. His hands clenched the armrests. "They're losing," Kara said. "Should we pull out?" Voss hesitated. Then he saw it. A hybrid girl, no older than 10, shielding a wounded human. Lila's voice cracked through the comms. "Aaron, they're fighting back. Some of them remember who they were." Voss's breath caught. He stood. "All ships, Divert power to the core's docking bay. Support Reyes. The battle turned chaotic. Ghost Fleet soldiers stormed the core, firing at hybrids while shouting, "Surrender, we'll help you." Some hybrids froze, confused. A few dropped their weapons, clutching their heads as human memories surged. But the Ascendant wasn't done. "Initiate final protocol," it buzzed to its officers. The core's engines roared, aiming to ram the Achilles. Kara spotted it first. "Sir, the core's accelerating toward us. It'll take out the whole fleet." Voss's mind raced. "Jin, can you shut it down remotely?" Jin's voice crackled. "Only from the control room, but it's crawling with hybrids." "I'll go," Lila said. "No," Voss snapped. "I'm the fastest," she shot back. "Cover me." She sprinted through the chaos, dodging hybrids and leaping over fire. The control room door hissed open. Inside, the Ascendant loomed, its clawed limbs twitching. "You are weak," it hissed. Lila raised her rifle. "So are you," she fired. The Ascendant screeched, diving for her. They crashed through consoles, sparks flying. Back on the Achilles. Alarms blared. "Core's 3 minutes to impact." Voss grabbed his mic. "Lila, where are you?" Static. Then a voice. Weak, but alive. "I've got an idea." Lila dragged the Ascendant to the main console. Its claws raked her shoulder, but she shoved its face into the panel. "End the protocol," she hissed. The Ascendant's compound eyes flickered. "No. The hive must survive." She pressed the gun to its head. "Your hive is dead. End it, or die with it." The Ascendant's mandibles twitched. Then it hissed, "Final protocol. Cancelled." The core shuddered. Lila kicked the Ascendant away and sprinted for the door. "Get everyone out," she yelled into her radio. "The core's destabilizing." The Ghost Fleet scattered as the Nexus core imploded, collapsing into the black hole. The explosion lit the void like a star. On the Achilles, Voss stared at the void where the core once spun. Silence. Then Jin's voice. "Boss, we've got survivors. Lila made it." Voss exhaled. "Bring them home." Weeks later, Earth's skies were clear, cities rebuilt. Survivors returned from hiding. On the Achilles, Lila stood beside Voss, watching hybrids train in the war room. Some wore Ghost Fleet uniforms, their loyalty earned, not forced. "You were right," Voss muttered. "We didn't have to become monsters." Lila smiled faintly. "We're still learning, that's all we can do." Jin approached, holding a tablet. "Boss, we've got a message from Mars. A new colony, humans and hybrids working together." Lila took the tablet. The screen showed children, human and hybrid, laughing beside a greenhouse. Voss looked at her. "You think we've seen the last of this?" She shook her head. "There'll always be wars, but there'll also be people who choose to be better." Outside the window, the stars glittered. The Ghost Fleet drifted in peace, its mission no longer vengeance, but protection. Humanity had survived, and this time, they wouldn't forget what it meant to be human.